Hello, this is Jay Leon, and we're doing some beginning sailboat racing tutorials. And today we're going to talk about boat speed. There's a lot of different elements to winning a sailboat race, but making your boat go fast through the water is a really good start on how to do well in races. So let's just talk a little bit about the fundamentals of boat speed. Let's think about the wind blowing down this way. And if you remember from our lesson way back, we talked about the points of sail. And today, let's just think a little bit about the reach. So we've been talking about windward leeward courses, where you sail straight up into the wind, and then you sail straight downwind, and then you finish straight into the wind. So we're either going upwind or downwind all the time. The reach is when the wind is coming 90 degrees to the boat, and they're in our upwind, downwind, upwind race course. There isn't ever a time when we're actually sailing on a reach. But the reason I want to talk about it is the reach is the fastest point of sail. This is the combination of factors, but the sail is its most efficient when it's being utilized this way, and we have least wind drag against us going upwind, and so all boats go the fastest on a reach. And any time you turn up from the reach closer to the wind, your boat is going to slow down, and eventually you would, if you kept turning up, you would get to close hauled, which is this off 45 degrees off the wind, and that is our more or less our best way to proceed up the race course. But remember that if you turn down just a little bit from 45 degrees, you're going to go faster, but you're not going to make as much progress towards the mark because you're heading a little bit away from the mark. And if you turn up a little bit, you're going to go slower, but you're going to make more progress towards the mark. So when you're sailing upwind, it's always good to remember that the reach is the fastest. So anytime you bear off a little bit or head away from the wind a little bit, your boat is going to speed up. And then every time you head up, your boat is going to slow down. And so when you're going on the first leg of the race upwind, you want to constantly just feather back and forth between going as fast as you possibly can and then also going as close to the progress towards the mark as you possibly can. And it's by doing that up, down, very, very slight, kind of gentle changes with the helm to make sure to keep your boat moving. It's a common problem a common mistake to think, oh, I have to get to that weather mark, so I want to sail as close to the wind as I possibly can. And you end up pinching, we call that, trying to make the boat go closer to the wind than it really should. And you get going slower and slower and slower, and you end up not doing very well in the race. So, and also you can't do the other thing, which is just to bear off and just go fast all the time, because then you're kind of sailing away from the mark. So you need to do a little bit of both and keep your speed up. Interestingly, same applies going downwind. Going dead downwind, when you're just straight with the wind like that, is going to give you the best progress towards the leeward mark. But it is slower than if you were to turn just a little bit this way. And so when you're going downwind, you do the same thing. You head up a little bit and try to get better flow across the sail and try to go a little bit faster, but each time you do that, you're not sailing straight at the mark anymore. So you do do that to just get your speed going, and then you can turn back down. And oftentimes people will just kind of do a little bit of a serpentine course going down the towards the mark, so you're never really sailing just straight downwind all the time, but you're varying it a little bit and keeping your speed going. The thing about sailboats, particularly in lighter wind, the speed will help you build more speed. So every time you bear off a little bit when you're going upwind and get your boat going a little bit faster, it builds up a little bit of momentum, and then you kind of spend a little bit of that momentum to go up a little bit, but then you bear off a little bit to get the boat going faster again. So every time you're just kind of continuing to build and build and build and build and go faster and faster. And unfortunately, the converse is true as well. If you just keep on pinching up, you could just go slower and slower and slower, and that could be quite frustrating. So try to remember that the reach is the fastest point of sail. And even though we never really sail on reaches very much, we're always trying to incorporate a little bit of it into whatever angle we're sailing, whether it's going upwind or downwind, so that we keep building our speed all the time. So that's our boat speed.